just for technical purposes, this is being recorded, and so, but we're not using mic anything after the future, but. So when you say something, even though it seems ridiculous to speak really loud if someone's standing right in front of you, you just, if you could, and then that way the mics will pick it up a little bit better. And then it's a way for us to keep record of what's happening. So we're taking notes as well, but we just want to be able to hear what you have to say.
So hi everyone, I'm Rosette, I'm the ESC president.
My name is Allison Gacka. I'm on Oaks Environmental Council, and I also serve as student president.
My name is Trisha May Adamy, and I'm the co-president of DECA.
I'm Nathan, and I'm new on ESC.
So welcome to Town Hall. Everyone who here has been to a Town Hall last year.
That was technical school.
How many of you don't know what Town Hall is or what the point of Town Hall is? Okay, that's good. So you guys all know about its purpose. Do you guys remember what Operation Student Voice is? Yeah? Okay. Is there anyone that doesn't know what that is? You? Okay. A couple of you? Okay. So basically, it's an initiative that was started last year aimed at extracting student voice and improving our school community in a way that'll benefit you. So basically, we wanted to take your opinions, take your feedback, and use it to improve on any issues and create positive change that will help make Hope a community that you can truly enjoy.
So we did that through three mediums. We first tackled you guys online using hashtag #JPulse. And we moved into town hall, like the one that we're having today, and we're making this for talking longer, which you may have seen just beside our elevators. So we're going to be making use of that talking locker, so you're not to worry. But essentially, what the talking locker is like an anonymous suggestion box. We'll pose a question, and then there'll be a little search where you can write your response and submit it, and then we'll collect the results from there afterwards.
And another medium we have is through Twitter, #JPulse. How many of you have actually tweeted using that hashtag before? Okay, a couple of you. How many of you know what the hashtag is, or don't know what the hashtag is? Okay, so we all know what that is. That's good.
Yeah, I would just say, I would encourage that. One of the first questions is going to be talking about getting the word out and things like that. But since that's one way that we already use, is that #JPulse, and you got to understand is I monitor that as well. So, I don't mean that in a negative way to say, I don't want to put something on there that's going to upset the principal. That's not what that's about. It's more about me being able to get some feedback that's pretty direct and pretty instantaneous for things that could be improved. Because, especially with stuff that requires school budget or decisions about the school, that has to come through me eventually in one way or the other. And so that's the direct way. They don't think it's just going somewhere and it's just for the sake of nothing. That actually, I have an aggregator on my computer that when that's used, I can find out exactly what it's coming up. So it is something that got a lot of play last year, and then we can get the word out again this year about it so that we can get some feedback. Okay.
So some ground rules before we begin. If appropriate, courteous towards others, swearing, so we can begin discussion. So first of all, communication is crucial in letting the Panthers know about different events and things happening within the school. So in your opinions, what methods are effective or ineffective in getting the word out about various school events?
None of my classes listen to any of the announcements. It's always loud. And then when I try to find out something like the coding thing on Thursday, I found out about that through a friend because my class is way too loud to listen to the announcements.
Yeah.
So the announcements, the oral announcements, is there a problem with the volume of it, or is it just that, like, not talking about those announcements?
It's like true watch it. Like there's things that people care about, there's things that people really don't care about. Like some of the songs people will see as like, oh, they're not talking about anything serious or something like that. Like, that's what my friends told me basically.
What do you mean the song?
Like the songs, like they'll think it's like, oh, the song is probably something for like some like.
But it's part of the announcement.
Yeah.
When they put it on. But it's hard to pick who, what's important to you might not be important to somebody else. But just the general feel about announcements, is it that there's too many, or is
It's
it
not that
that
there's too many, it's just like it's so like I don't know, basically my friends told me it's like, it's not like professionalized, like there's like songs over here, and then like they'll like say this long thing about pep rally or something, and then there'll be another song that like, in the middle of it, we squeeze something in, like, oh, there's something coding on Thursday, and like nobody listens.
Yeah, I think I agree with them. Sometimes the announcements get really repetitive, and like it's trying to put it in your head. Like the announcements feel like it's trying to force you like to listen to it, you know? Like
So repetitive meaning like the same announcement up for like a whole week is
Yeah.
kind of loose.
like you kind of lose interest after it because it keeps repeating and it gets old.
Right. Okay. That's a good one.
We should put up on posters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Posters.
Like, maybe just even, I don't have to be fancy, but just like a reminder you at school. So like.
Is there a better place to put it? Because I mean, there's one way to say we're just gonna plaster stuff everywhere. Now, the problem with that is, I'm not thrilled with the fact that people are using that much paper, just, you know, cranking out 1,000 things. The other part is I walk around sometimes, you know, like last night I came back to bed some more, so I was here at 7 to 9 o'clock last night. And I walk around taking down posters that are they're not even stuff that was 2 months ago. And if you put up like 100 posters, 15 are gonna be left because you're gonna forget what you put, right? Or I spent a lot of time looking in the garbage can where most of those posters are gone. So, maybe is there a good place for it? If there was a central place where you knew you could go by to find information, where would that be?
You should put the posters at the top, because like everyone goes to the top, so everyone can see posters.
So if there was some sort of a news board in the cap.
Yeah.
I think we should use the televisions or the broadcasts more often because maybe like people like it just gives a more feel to it. Like it's like to me like it just gives me a more feel to just watching on television or something. Because
You can get more props too.
yeah.
The problem with the TV is like a lot of our friends there was a TV until like 2 weeks ago or something when I like pointed it out. So like one of my friends told me like why don't you just tell the teacher just like have a sheet of like your home teacher just like save what there is. And like if you want to know more information about it, so they don't have to see everything in announcements, then just come to the home teacher and just like the home teacher will like explain it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the value of having, principals or administration to come through from different schools, you can kind of get access to stuff that's happening in other schools. And I think we should do that already. So I've been in a school where they had written and oral announcements, so every morning I got, as a teacher, I got a whole list. It was a legal size thing, both sides of announcements. And there was a lot of, and that was effective in that people could, look at it. The problem was that it was like way too easy to put something in. So I got to the point where I was just deleting my announcements out of it before I even read them because there was so many. Because it would be easy, someone would just put this in for 2 weeks. So you have the same announcement column forever. And that's also, you got to think, if I would put one into every single teacher's mailbox, that's 90 copies a day. That's a lot of papers to be used over the course of a year. There's 188 school days. You start doing the math. That's a lot of. I think that's a very environmentally friendly option. But I can get where, is there a place where we can put everything so that you can see it?
Like, it's written for my home. The ladies basketball. What she did was she just put it up there right in front of like where the board was, and we just saw every day. Just like she can go, oh yeah, I think I want to try for the track, so she would just go down there. Or like you can like make 10 posters and put it on like every other door of the classroom, so that when they go to the door, they see it.
Okay.
I say you make the posters bigger like that. Like, because, like, I think what we should do is we should make the posters pop, but make it big enough so that, like, organize it in different areas. Like, there'd be one poster in this area, and like.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think the idea of the cafeteria. Now we're gonna put a big announcement screen in the cafeteria. I want to have like from 4 in there. The problem is it takes a long time to get it installed. Like I have a TV, I bought it 2 months ago. Right? It's a 60 or 70 inch TV that's going to be in there. Just keep waiting for them to actually do the work because you got to get the power up to the ceiling, right? It's usually not out, but obviously it's used for that. So there's some work to do with that. So we're gonna do that. I like the idea of maybe a central board inside the cafeteria. Sure, that's an interesting idea. Yeah.
Another thing with the TV is that like most people walk into the hallways can't like see all of the announcements. It's gonna take a lot of time to like scroll through all of them. So if there was like a more efficient way to like see all of that, quicker so that they can still reach classes on time.
Does anybody use the app? So there is an announcement app, right? You can get an iPhone.
I
It
think,
doesn't really fit on your phone screen.
I think the app is really too cluttered for me. So,
And only.
yeah,
But it should just be the announcements, or it should just be the text announcements.
I think we should like,
Because I think what you might be seeing is, it might be in the settings that you've done, is if you pick the wrong setting, you're gonna get the actual announcement with the videos and all that stuff, and then on a phone, it's not gonna fit. There's a setting part, and maybe we can do a better job of that, I think we saw that in the first one, is there's a way to get it so all you see is the words. So it's just the text, and you can swipe through those texts. So you can say, I want this now. It's probably in your settings, and the problem is it's not easy to just say, hey, get this app, because it's get this app, and you gotta sign up for this, and this setting, so that it shows that part. And so we need to maybe do a better job of that.
I don't think anybody will stop that.
Right.
Another broadcast.
So how would you do it?
I think personally we should make our own app with like a clear, clean base of HUD style, so like,
Well, we do have an app, and it does, the one that, if it's set up properly, will just show you the text of the announcements. It doesn't have the videos, it doesn't have like, the weather that comes in, and the commercial, those videos. It's just the text, and it's static, meaning it's the text, and then you select. So you can skip over one, okay, I don't want, oh, there's one I want to go over that. And if it's set up properly, but I think the word is that there's not enough people who know about it, or how to set it up properly. So how do you get that out? How would you know about it? You just told me no one listens to announcements, right? Well, we have posters. I made 200 posters.
that's a hard job.
There's the question. Right?
Let's say we made a how-to video on how to set that, we could actually watch it and then follow on Twitter. And then you can post it on social media, we can follow it, watch it, and like.
So they share. Yeah.
Well, it would take it's literally would take the video. If it was a minute, it would be way too long.
What about?
Like, it doesn't take that long. Like I did it, and it's literally to get the app, and you go click here, you put in this little email address, which is like nothing, and then it's select this, and you know. So it wouldn't even take the video. Probably wouldn't even be a minute long.
Yeah, 30 seconds, you can just attach it to the tweet itself.
Right. Is that?
And so be short and sweet, and yeah, it's not much. So.
But I feel like another reason the announcements don't really go well is because like not everyone cares. So like if people did care, they did want to know, they'd find out for themselves. So like if people really do care about the announcements, there's certain people and they want to know something, they'll find out for themselves.
But the question is, how do you?
Get them to care.
How do you even carry out? So there's that saying that I don't even know enough to know what I don't know, right? So if you don't know that there's something that's available, you won't really care. And the other thing is there's new initiatives. Is how do you get the word out about it? I mean, really, that's what we're trying to talk about here. Is what's the best way to communicate with you?
How would I consider social media is?
Yeah, I have like notifications set for like almost every single like school Twitter thing. So why not just like have announcements on Twitter?
But then
Not
everyone
has social media. And the people that do have that, then they would.
So who here uses social media? Who here has Twitter or Instagram? So is Instagram becoming kind of the new?
Yeah, it's coming up here.
That's the other problem. That's the other problem is there's a new thing like every couple of years, right? So it's what's the next one? And we're usually the last ones to figure it out, to be completely honest, right? Adults are just getting comfortable with Facebook.
Yeah. It's like, you know how you said, like, how the apps was announcements, and we were trying to update it more to be more, like, efficient? Like, maybe you should do it to these so, like, you could just swipe this.
That's okay. If the app is set up properly, that's what it is. You just go, you open the app. You only have to set it up once, and every time you open it, there's just a text, and you can just you click an arrow, and it goes to the next one. And you gotta know that's updated every night. So those announcements are updated every night. Right? So if people do it through the online version. So that goes to one of the secretaries who then updates it every single night. So that should be pretty good. And those are the same ones that go up on the screen. But maybe we're saying that there needs to be a better exposure of that. And then maybe a link to that with Twitter too, and or Instagram. So how would you use Instagram? This is because I'm learning about Instagram. I don't use it. But how would you use it for school? I don't know how you use it personally, right? But how would you use it for school to be able to get the word out? How would you tell these guys to say, if you have an event and you want us to know about it or something, how would you use it?
Like make a little funny video of it and like do that, and then put a lot of hashtags involving the tags, and then everyone will work.
Or it's like you should just like do like this app to make posters for Instagram, and then like you tweet it out, and then post it, and then you could just like tag people in it. Whoever wants, you could tag certain people. Those people will tag people, and then just eventually spread. And like once it spreads to enough people, it'll go like on your explore page, because if you follow like the same like certain people, and it's been through like people that you follow, it'll be on your explore page.
Okay. Good.
But like the Snapchat idea is really cool because if you just make like a school account for Snapchat, and then if everyone adds you or whatnot, every day just make a story on all the announcements, and everyone just taps that.
Excuse my ignorance. How does Snapchat?
It's like you just so everyone you make an account.
Please don't say chat in the chat.
No, you just make a chat.
Pictures or videos.
Pictures or videos. And
And
like
Instagram.
no, it only lasts like
It's more
24
fast.
hours.
Yeah, it's more direct. It's like 10 seconds.
It's only lasts for 24 hours, which is perfect
Because that's every day.
It's not here, it's not there for us.
and like you just like you can like you can put up like you to add something on Snapchat, you can take a picture of like their barcode thing, so we can even put posters of our barcode, and then people just take their photos and just snap it, whatever, and then it adds. You don't have to add the person back, because it takes forever to add the whole entire school back. And then you see your story, and then it deletes, and then if you want to review their story, you can just.
Is it?
We can see Snapchat, but the problem is Snapchat's blocked on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Across the board, so.
But YouTube was blocked at one time. When Wi-Fi first came out, they blocked it. And then they unblocked it because they realized it was a tool. Right? I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, people will block it for very good reasons, and I think you've all seen the Snapchat be used inappropriately as well, right? And in some very mean and awful ways. So the problem with Snapchat too is, as I understand it, it gets deleted, right? So there's no breadcrumb trail, which is what they want, right? They want to be able to track back. You said this, so it's there. So like if you put something on Twitter, even if you erase it, I can find it. Right? You do realize that, right? Even if you delete something from your account, I can find it. Even I can, much less people know what they're doing. So I think that was the problem. Snapchat is the one that there's an anonymity to it, and anonymity can be very dangerous. But look into it a little bit more, and then people will. This is why we record this stuff, right? Because I've sent parts of our town halls to people at PEC or at the head office of the board and said, maybe we need to change policy. Policy exists, but it's set up by people, right? People change their mind because they, like I said, YouTube was blocked when Wi-Fi first got in schools, and it's no longer anymore. But YouTube is blocked in some schools. I think your Catholic schools. Good. All right. I'll take it.
So next we can move on to athletics. So how many of you play sports or like sports? Almost all of you. So what would you say is missing from the school in regards to athletics? Brianna.
Okay, activities.
Okay.
A lot of people are requesting a rugby team because the number of those is absent. And I think to get more people involved, we should have more B teams. So like the junior boys basketball, there was like so many boys that tried out to be able to A and B team. By doing that, it allows more kids to play. So like the A team would play in the regular season, and then the B team does tournaments.
So then they both get like an experience to play and like improve their skills. If they don't play outside, still get to like play a sport and still be involved in the teams.
I mean, it's a good idea. It's an interesting experiment to see how the boys are doing. And I mean, that came out of nowhere, right? There was no plan to do it. It was because there were so many boys we wanted to try out. That exists for two reasons that there's challenges to go with that. One is you need to have a coaching staff to be able to do that, right? So remember that every team needs to have at least one, and probably to do probably 2 to 3 teachers on staff. That can be hard to get. And I don't know what many schools that have as many teams as we do. So you have a lot of teachers right now. The other thing is that there is a cost that goes with that. The athletic fees you guys pay doesn't even remotely come close to even nearly covering costs. It's not even close. I mean, you guys pay $45, and that's up. It used to be 30. We raised it to $45 to play. Well, they pay once. That doesn't even come close to do it. I mean, if you think about a bus costs us $200 to $300 every time it bus. How many games you have to do that? How many tournaments you have to do that? Tournaments cost $400 to $500 every tournament. So, a team would generate, a basketball team, let's say, would generate maybe $400 in athletic fees. That's not after 2. So, athletics cost the school a lot of money. And I'm glad to spend it. But the idea of just opening up these teams just randomly, there's reality behind why that maybe can't happen. It's interesting to see how it's going to work this year, for sure. And maybe that's something that we could explore as well.
You should absolutely make the house league for basketball.
So, and that came up before. So like an intramural, I was like, how would that work?
I don't think not just intramurals, because like playing it once, like you want to play it again.
Well, that's what intramurals can be, right? That's what it means is like I've been to schools where intramurals are a league, so there's a season that goes on. I was at one school where we had 4 seasons. So we did like flag football and then basketball and then European handball and then something else. Like we kind of did soccer or something like that. How would that help?
Here's how we this is maybe a course of that's how it works for like the house of time. So once a week there's a practice, there are games. This should be season as well.
What do you think the challenges of that are? Teacher supervision is yeah, for sure. And gym time. There's the school teams are in the gyms. Like, I don't know, has anybody ever seen the school gym empty after school? I've never seen it. Now, there's times in the season where there might be less, like in the spring, more of your outdoor sports start to happen, right? But even then, you can use it. I mean, you talk about rugby. Rugby would use the gym until the weather got good enough outside. And a lot of times you can't get onto some of the fields, right? Because they don't rely on the fields because they would damage the fields if you're too early. So the big question here is, like, when I was a student here, 100 years ago, when I was a student here, there was intramural. We had a pretty serious basketball intramural. I played on the senior boys varsity team, and the varsity guys were the captains of teams. So we actually had like a training camp where we had all the guys up there. We would go on quick clipboards and rank guys. We had a draft. Seriously, like it was pretty intense. And we had a whole season, a championship game, and all those things, and it was big. It was a big deal. There was a lot less teams here at that time. So we had access to the gym after school for like a month and a half. I don't know now, there's not as many, there wasn't as many banners up when I was here. And those banners are because of the amount of teams. So I think we need to, maybe the athletic wing of the council is having conversations with Mr. McLean and Mr. Hackett, the athletic directors, to say, when is there a soft part of the season? Because the other part is we really can't do it during lunch, because with 2 lunches, when you're on lunch, there's classes to it too. Right? That's the other problem. I've been in schools where there's only 1 lunch, and so everybody's on lunch at the same time. We obviously cannot do that here. You see it is as it is. If you try to put 1,400 of you at once, that would be epic. So but I like the idea of it, sure. It's a little bit more ongoing, a little bit more organized.
If more possible, have it like more in spring season or like what's hotter is around that time, that's when sports teams practice outside, because we have more outdoor sports. So if we were to have a house league, that would be more likely to happen when there's hotter weather.
Yeah.
And like more outdoor sports.
Might be possible.
Do you think we could like host a tournament, like for any sport? Like usually, like we just do elementary schools, but do you think that by like hosting a high school tournament, we could raise money like for basketball or volleyball? Tournaments are amazing, and then like we can do like raise money that people could like pay $2 to get in, like students to go out there and student ID. And yeah, we can sell food and raise money. Like, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's entirely too. You know, when I taught, I coached basketball and baseball and field sports. And to be honest, a lot of those tournaments are already set. There's the tournaments that are always going on, right? So you're gonna have to find a soft spot in a sport where there isn't a tournament. And we've sort of been known now as the elementary school of tournament shows, right? Because our health action team runs the elementary tournaments, and we also, because we have a track, we have an 8-lane track that a lot of places don't have. So in the spring, you'll see like there's elementary schools like crazy up there. That's kind of what we've been known to be. But there's a possibility of that, but it all depends on need in that association for that.
Like basketball, like there wasn't like a tournament for us like in Scarborough. We had to go so far for all our tournaments. So I was thinking like for us if we have like a Scarborough tournament, we could have like Newman, Manny, MT. Like there's a lot of schools that are like not far, but like they're close to us that we can probably come, because I know that when they go to tournaments, they all go really fun.
Absolutely. And again, that would be, we pass this on to our athletic directors and stuff. Because that takes coordination. More of that?
May I ask specifically towards like your grade, like in grade 10 open gym? Like
Is it? What do we do to every year?
or like an open gym general for all grades?
I don't think all.
Not all grades, but like grade 9 to 10, for example.
Oh,
Like that, like mix that.
Maybe not grade 9.
No, not like the whole grade, but like.
Maybe do like 9, 10,
And then-
get experience for
Yeah, so we can mix the grades.
So like
Actually, the grade 9, so they can
Grade
grade 9.
9.
Not just grade.
And how do those, what's the best way to organize that? Do you submit teams ahead of time? Do you, you just?
What
So
do
you
you
think
think?
you did because
Just open to it. Just like come and play.
Yeah.
like the ones that you did when you guys
Yeah,
were like in grade 9, like when you guys had the open gym for grade 9
Yeah.
like that, right? Like it's not it makes it weird. Not so it's grade 9.
And especially if it's on a Friday, a lot of people come. If it's like longer, because like everyone loves to be in the gym. So it's fun, and there's music and you're with your friends, and there's sports.
Right.
Yeah. It's good to look into.
Good.
How about outdoor court? Or if you can't do that, how about like sit up there or something?
Outdoor sports. Yeah. Well, I think what we need to do is we need to do a better job of defining the space back there. We're gonna get different portables, and we're gonna have to reconfigure the portables are configured terrible. I'm surprised when it's getting by car, but I think people parking the portables is such a bad idea. So when we do that, we're gonna have to define the space. I mean, we have way too many parking spots. Like, it's essentially this whole campus is parking, right? There's a remarkable amount of parking slots. And maybe there's a way to define that a little bit. There is concerns, a lot of places have concerns about putting outdoor courts. That comes with, there's an insurance liability that comes with that, right? So as soon as you put outdoor courts, then anybody starts to use them. And if something happens on that court, like this is private property, remember? Like that's, some people get the sense of, well, it's a school and it's publicly funded, so it's public property. It's not. It's private property. So if something happens on the school, I'm liable, and the board is liable. So even if it happens on a Sunday and no one has permission to come out, it still happens, right? So there's a question about, and I have to look into that a little bit more. That's why in a lot of elementary schools they've taken those out, or they put them into places where they can secure the, they put locks on their gates so that people technically can't get in. Because they've taken that out because of liabilities. Like someone's been playing a game, they broke their leg, and they sued the school. Even though no one told you could go in there, but they're saying, I don't care, I just walked in. And so the problem with that is that the school boards come and say, all right, we're taking this to the roots already. But you're right, it would be a good idea to look into that a little bit. I'm gonna let this go.
Is it hard to bring a football team to school?
Yeah.
You want to see your athletic fees go to $500 per season? Like, I'll be honest with you. I've heard this before. Grade 9 is not sport, just before. It's an incredibly expensive sport to run. I was at Blessed Mother Teresa as the VP when they started the team. And, you know, just as an example, there's about 45 kids on football. 40. Let's say, we can probably run like 36. 36 kids. Those helmets cost about $200 each. You have to buy, so 36 times 200. You have to buy new ones every 8 to 10 years. They have to get renewed by law. They have to get changed. That's not including pads, that's not including all the stuff, pants, everything like that. It's incredibly expensive. And there's an insurance premium you have to put on top of that because it's a high impact sport. That's why schools will offer cheap rugby, because you buy a ball. And then you're done. Essentially, you can run forward. So there is that. You know, I've heard about it before. They started at Blessed Mother Teresa because the principal there was a football guy, played football at university and really liked football, and so decided that it was okay to donate or to direct $40,000, $50,000 of the school's budget for football. It's a lot. It's a huge amount to start the team. Yeah, and there's foundations that can help. The other problem is there's not a whole lot of places to play. There's only, I think, 4 or 5 schools in our board that play football. Right? There's not. At MT, I don't even know if they still have a team. I think they still do play. But they were having a heck of a time. They couldn't find anybody to compete with. So then they play in a league with like Henry Carr, Michael Power, the schools that play on Don Bosco most of the time. And they're getting killed. There was 70 because it takes a long time. It's not a sport like basketball where people play outside. You know, I don't know many people, does anybody here play football? Like actually play, like in a club?
Well, I'm trying.
Right. So that's there's not as much of like house league, like, you know, it's not like, you know, hockey for my kids or whatever, or, you know, basketball where there's clubs and stuff like that. Football's a little bit more rare. And so it's a skill to learn how to play that, and it's play loud. So I mean, if there'd be more of that, 5 to 7 coaches to coach it. So that can be a tough sell. It's really expensive. Really expensive.
Then if you make like football for the older grades instead of just being grade 9.
Again, that depends a lot on. It's not just our decision. It's about is there a desire out from other schools. The TBCA, which is like the governing body of sports for our board, used the flag football as sort of a transition sport. It was really about an orientation sport. That's why it's grade 9. Excuse me, right at the beginning of the year. So it's like something that you guys can get into, like grade 9s can get into and get into it right away. There wasn't a push for that. There used to be flag football for girls that was pretty competitive in the city. I was at a school that had a really competitive girls flag football team. But again, they were competing against public schools more than Catholic. Because it's also way more public schools, right? Public schools not the size of us. They have more of that. But it's always good to say, you know, what are the options? Because if there's a desire, then that's how things start. You know, sometimes there's reasons that it can't start, or sometimes those reasons are just things you have to become. It's not just enough to say. But yeah.
What if we made like a flag football in Shapiro? Would that be something that you guys would be interested in?
Yeah. I've been in schools like that. We had that here when I did my student teaching here 20 years ago, and we had a flag football team here. And I played on the staff. We killed. You remember Mr. Delgado?
Yeah.
You ever seen him play flag football?
He kind of awesome.
Right. That was something to see. So he's go get his way. He played in the CFL, right? I mean, he was a professional football player. Watch it. He was pretty impressive. Oh yeah. He didn't want to get his way. So yeah, I mean, there's a possibility. I'd like to see that and explore a little bit more. Right? And when we played that, we didn't have the track with them. We had to walk down to your team.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's an interesting idea.
Anything else in regards to athletics, or is there anything that the council could do to include more people in athletics? Okay, so we can move on to the next topic of social justice. So are there any social justice issues that need more attention or activism throughout our school?
How are you guys doing with volunteer hours? Who's got them all on? Okay.
I keep losing my paper.
Yeah,
Like I get my stuff signed, and then I lost my paper. I lose track because I just give up signing my paper and I keep losing it. So I don't lose it.
Is that a question or a?
And like I have like something from summer school, but I lost it.
More efficient way of doing it, to be honest.
Is there a way like we can just take pictures and like see the
Yeah, and not that we can like put our hours in, but then there's no way to get the teacher's signature.
Proof, that's what you need verification.
So then how about like we submit it and then the teacher like could verify it? And
Who's
then,
their number to contact?
or email.
My suggestion to you would be that if you get it signed, I would take a picture of it. I would just take a picture of it. Then you have it at least, right? Because I mean, there's a way you could possibly accept some of those things too. I mean, it's not, there's a way to do it. You know, but maybe is there a better way to do it so that there's, because what you do now is you can submit it any time. And we thought that was the best. There was times where you would just submit the end of the year. But that would be worse, right? Because if you had to keep those for an entire year, you definitely lose them. Is there a better way to collect it? That
Maybe
would,
if you like not force us,
to
we
do what?
have to give it to someone, so someone has it other than ourselves. That is more, not responsible, but won't say.
We want to, like, there should be like a gradual release of responsibility that happens, so that you are in charge of yourselves. That's the goal.
This way I forgot that I don't even know how much hours.
Have you submitted all
No, because I still haven't got the entire summer cafeteria last year.
Go right behind.
And like when you do hours with like a teacher, like some of them forget and then they just give you a random amount of hours. Like I did mine, but like I'm too scared to ask the teacher because what if she doesn't remember? And she thinks I'm lying.
But then ask, what's the worst thing she cheats? I would say it's got to be incumbent upon you guys to track those because there's nobody else that can do that. And really, we're not in elementary school anymore, right? We can do that sort of stuff. It would be good to say, is there a way to do it a little bit better? So this year we're doing for the grade 9s, but we're doing the freshman 40. So that if they can get in their freshman year, if they can get their 40 hours, they get like an incentive. There's a breakfast at the end of the year where anybody who's 40 hours gets to go to this breakfast.
I'll put them
We
like
can
4
add that
hours.
to-
So
Sorry, we did this about everything's gonna start
I'll
somewhere.
put them in my paper finding.
You need to make that, you need to make that like, you need to like,
Or 70 or something. So it's gotta,
you need to make sure like everyone can hear that, like, you know, like, everyone needs to hear that rewards and stuff.
yeah.
I love that idea, like, just make it.
And you heard, maybe it was last week, when people came on and said, so-and-so has their 100 hours, so then now she's got tickets to like, the Marley's game. Right?
We should do more of that next year, but like give me a gift card.
Well, 3-9.
We should like give me a gift card for like $15 to McDonald's.
Like incentive for your hours.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you get 100 hours, you can go to McDonald's.
So who here has their hours? How did you do it? Where did you go? How did you do it? Sorry? How did you do that? And where did you go? Like, did you go to like Malvern Community Center or is that where it was? There's one. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Several council activities.
All the council stuff? Yeah, absolutely. So going back to your elementary school and your church, that's always good. Yeah.
And like sports speaking and all that stuff. And then for basketball, Ms. Krikar, she like introduced us to this guy that works at the rec center. Over there. And yeah, not that. Like by Harry.
Right.
So then, like, we organized our own, like, the junior girls basketball team from last year. We organized like our own groups. It's called Black Ladies Athletic Council. We have our own council outside school, and like we go there on Thursdays from 4 to 6, like prior to our basketball season, after basketball season, and like we just do sports for like girls younger than us, and that's how we go.
Super cool.
And they give us bus tickets. So, yeah. And also out and
So more exposure to that sort of stuff.
and basketball too, because we use half the gym for girls and the other half for guys, and like we're the supervisors, so we don't need
That's good. So would there be more, is there a need to have more of that stuff in the school, like access to those sorts of people?
Yeah.
So if there was like a volunteer
It's very
fair
much
or
like,
whatever.
like his name is Zach, and he came here.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, some people wouldn't have access to that. So there was like a volunteer fair to give you guys access. Because I mean, I can see people on council or people who know council and all that, lots of opportunities. Or people who are active in their church or you know, their elementary school still likes them. Like, you know, some of these people may not like their elementary school anymore and they came back to public police or something like that. But if you don't, if you just like, you know, normal kid, you might say, well, how am I gonna get those 3 hours? I mean, my son's in grade 7 and he's my first that's going to be going to high school. And among other things that I'm very worried about is how's he gonna figure out volunteer hours? Where does he get that? Interesting. Maybe you guys have volunteer fairs. Yeah, like a shelter, let's do
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Also, like, back to, like, outside school, maybe, like, council or, like, housing grants. Because people might feel shy to try out, like, big schools somewhere, because they might be people that can't bring yourself to.
You might be intimidated by a team
You might
that's.
as well just go to something that you might not like.
We should like make Dennis idea. Like we should like make a carnival, like for us to volunteer at, so like we can get our volunteer hours while also like allowing other people to have a good time. So I think that
You want the school to create events that you can volunteer at to get volunteer hours.
yes.
Does that sort of defeat the concept of the volunteer hours? If you're creating artificial events to help out. The whole point is that you're actually not getting people who need them. Maybe think about that. Like, well, what's the point of the volunteer hours, right? Is to maybe we need something to think about that a little bit. Okay, that's good. That's good stuff. Is there any, the question was social justice issues. Is there any issue that you'd like to hear us talk more about, or you want, that people might want to learn more about, or that they need some support that we could provide support to? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on here. I mean, there's lots of things that are always happening, so maybe that's. Sorry? Best Buddies, yeah. Are you involved in Best Buddies, or is that something that? Right. Right, so the Best Buddies program is something that's good. I mean, maybe that is where that volunteer program, volunteer fair, just to get information on how do I do that stuff.
Yeah, there was the Volunteer Doing Expo that was held downtown, and then after I went to it, and I signed my email at each of the events, and they would send me emails on how to get hours and stuff.
And I mean, I don't see why we couldn't organize something similar here, and maybe it's more local. We talked about that with the student, with voice conference anyway. So that's good. Put it as for everyone else.
Need required volunteer hours set up like make like a poster and copy and see that. So for example, like Hannah requires volunteers. So say that people anyone who wants volunteer hours they can look at that poster and then
So even if there was more than just a volunteer opportunity. Yeah, it's not bad.
We actually have one. It's right beside the path. Yeah, community work. It's right beside the path. Yeah, we're constantly updated, so maybe you guys check that out.
Maybe that's something to send out like tweet to or Instagram.
Yeah. Oh, also, same with the volunteering club. There's a volunteer opportunity happening this Saturday for an organization called Track for Teens. And basically what's happening is if you're free this Saturday from I think 2 o'clock, you can go to Downtown Dundas Square and see Christmas carols while raising money to help homeless teens. So do their hours, have fun, and see Christmas spirit. So that's what we want to do, is check that out. The SCA community, or the Basic community Twitter account is about that, so for more information, there's a rich connection right now. Anything else with the activism So, do you guys have any questions in regards to just types of debate or how events are run? In some questions.
Why didn't we have the Halloween like dance with like the fashions?
Yeah.
Because like a lot of people were kind of looking forward to it. Like people that didn't get to go last year or heard this from this year.
Yeah, I know that guys tried to mix up the dance fashion show.
Usually with the DECA, what happens is that they have a fashion show and they have a dance. So usually for each year, we rotate it. But last year, I don't know why, they just decided to have a split, right? But usually last year was supposed to be a fashion show and this year was supposed to be a dance.
So now
It's just going to be based on fashion show because originally last year was supposed to be a preview of the fashion show, right, for the upcoming year. But last year was more focused on the dance. But at the same time, the dance wasn't really as successful as I feel. It's not sort of extent, like Mr. mentioned, we raised 9s. There's some sort of extent with security-wise, and it's a lot of problems that can happen, right? So that's why it changed this year.
And I mean, there's call for dances, and even at parent council say, why aren't there more dances for kids?
Because it's
Yeah.
supposed to be for us to go dance at school and somewhere and stuff.
Yeah. Great. But at the same time, I'll be honest with you, that's a little bit by my design. I'm not a fan of dances, to be honest with you. And it's not like a footloose thing where I'm morally against teens dancing. I mean, it's not that. It's more about there's a lot of security concerns about it, and I've seen school communities ruined by a single event. Something happens at a dance, and it gets in the news, and then all of a sudden, that's a bad school. Right? You guys chose this school, but there was probably people who were saying to you, well, that's a tough school, or I'm not going to go to this other school because, oh my God, I know what happens there. And they don't. Right? People don't know. And I've been at schools where the reputation was way too good, and they didn't deserve that good of a reputation. And I've been at schools where it's a bad reputation, and I got that school and putting talking. This place is amazing. But it doesn't matter what the truth is. It matters what people think. And so I've seen really bad things happen at those sorts of events. So, when there's international talent night, I don't sleep very well. It's just, okay, let's and that's why I insist that there's security. Parent council pays extra for security. We try to get our, school officer to help with the police around now, just because there's a liability that happens there that's very uncomfortable. And it has more to do with the image of the school where you love it. So, yeah, I'm willing to hear ideas, but understand that's not really the council's that are doing it. That's sort of getting my door, I'm saying.
I think before we leave for the Christmas break, we should start off something with the bang, something to end your summer break, winter break, something that we like.
Like a Christmas assembly.
Well, yeah, but that's right. Yeah, hold up. But something less boring.
Right.
Something less.
So to touch on that, we haven't publicized it much yet, so we really need to hop on it closely. But next year we're actually having the Christmas Spirit Week called Living Delicious. We had one last year, but it wasn't that big, so I don't know if you remember. And then this year, last year's was Next Friday, we're actually having a Christmas Spirit Assembly. So if you come to school that day, if you come to school that day, completely enter your off the day.
Yeah, and that day is pretty low key anyway, right? Because I mean, there's lots of people doing like gift exchanges and hanging out. Like, yeah, that's the way it is. And so there'd be like the assembly that the councils are doing and putting stuff together. And it's more about fun.
Is this Tuesday on that
No,
Friday?
the civics one on the Thursday.
How come we never have civics on Friday?
Well, to be honest with you, I'll be completely honest why that is because attendance on Fridays sucks.
That's why.
Like if you track attendance, it's by far, it's not even close. It's not even remotely close. More people are away on Fridays than on any other day of the week. So if we're gonna do, remember, Cities Days, you raise money, half that money goes to charity, right? So when you pay, $1 goes to charity, $1 goes towards running events. To make it worthwhile, to do it on a Friday, raise less money.
But maybe they'll come to school because it's a civics day.
If people come to school simply because they get to wear jeans, there's something wrong.
And because
There's a much bigger issue.
I'm not saying like this Friday, but like in general, just try out Friday. People will be more excited.
Because
Well,
this
well-
Friday is gonna be like winter things.
Yeah.
And it's a second Sunday, so if they go to the gym for the office, it's like, and so obviously.
Everyone's gonna do it.
Well, because so it's something to think about for sure. But again, like, so Thursday will be the city's day because that's what has been set, right? I mean, it's in the calendars and all those things, and those things get done really actually last year. And the idea of the assembly was something that came up this year where councils wanted to really sort of step it up. And so that's good, but maybe we can look to coordinate those a little bit more. The one thing that I would want to talk about before we go on, I didn't get a chance last time, is I'm always interested in school safety. And what does that look like for you guys? Is there issues that you're seeing? Is there concerns about that? Is there that we can address? And I mean, that's one of the questions that we asked about. And I would like to get some feedback on that. If there is some concerns that people have. Whether it be the physical safety of the school, like last year there was a lot about, the crosswalk, crossing, and that was becoming a mess. But then maybe there's other stuff, What is, any questions? Any comments? Sorry?
I feel safe in schools.
Well, that's good. I mean, and I wouldn't say, I only want to hear it if you're, walk the halls in fear constantly. I don't want to, I mean, but is there something that could be improved upon? Is there something that I need to be concerned about or address?
I have a question. When you guys were in grade 9, and you guys are the first time coming to the school, did you guys especially with the other grades, did you guys feel intimidated with the other grades whatsoever?
Yeah, I felt like I was sending.
The gym motion.
Gym hall one? Intimidated? Was gym hall grades also a little bit more intimidating? Just.
But so the gym always,
It's not even like a people it's like an amount of people.
because it's so, well, it's the small much together.
Small, tall, and there's
So many people. There's so many more people in the hallway than the entire school. And
That was my laundry grade 9 right there.
Oh.
Right at the seat, right?
Oh, the teacher.
2 years. Okay. And aside from making them wider, I don't know what I can do with that. Okay. Go back in time. Don't let's screw it up. Anything else? Yeah.
Oh, it's not about like the school, it's about next week on Friday. Are we gonna have a science meeting? Yes.
There will be a signed seating for every assembly that will ever happen. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, and most of the time, assemblies shouldn't be fun.
Yeah, this one should be.
That one should be fun, yes, but most of the time it's not what it's about. And the other thing is I need to be able to have my staff supervise students. So when we're having an assembly like, we had an assembly, no, not the pep rally, environmental assembly. So we had the environmental assembly. The first one that I was at was teachers were sitting with their students was great. The second one, we had to have the VPs had to get called down, and Josie had to get called down, and Ms. Richards had to get called down because people were being silly, stupid, and disrespectful that people were there. So if that's the trade-off, there's no trade-off. So the staff has expressed a huge interest in science. I don't know exactly how that's gonna work. But for the most part, 99% of assemblies will have a science.
So how is the winter assembly going to work this year?
How was the,
So the assembly, the winter assembly going to work this year?
we'll see. We'll try to work out.
Can you just put the good test in the bleachers?
Yeah, not very much.
Exactly.
We're the biggest grade, that's why.
Well, there's different reasons for why they put certain people in certain places, and so we're still trying to work it out.
All the different
Class assembly was the last. Class assembly was the first time we ever done the science meeting here, and so we're still trying to figure that part out. But next year, you're not gonna want grade 10s to be bleachers. Next year, you're gonna say grade 11 will be bleachers.
Is that not like a really loud grade 9?
Okay, we'll find out where you're sitting and we move ahead. Thanks so much, guys. I'm gonna get into lunch and maybe it's a different one. Yeah, because they're in the same areas. Maybe, yeah, it's a good one. So, yeah, that's. Okay. Did you guys do me a favor and move the chairs? Just, we'll stack them and put them just in the corner. Because I just don't want, if the kids are eating lunch, I don't need them to be,